Do you want to become a millionaire? All you have to do is buy my course for $97 and you can become a millionaire only working 1 hour per day. Let's go. All right, so maybe it's not quite that simple, but I assure you, you can become a millionaire, but I can also guarantee you, you can't become a millionaire without making mistakes along the way.
Kids, you tried your best and you failed miserably.
Now, how do I know this? Well, I know this because 1, I am a millionaire. I'm a multimillionaire. 2, I've made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. And since most successful millionaires don't share with you all the mistakes that they have made, I wanted to flip the script. I wanted to do something different. So today, I'm going to share the 6 biggest mistakes I've ever made that collectively have cost me over, check this, $4.2 million. That's right, $4.2 million. Are you ready to find out what these mistakes are? Let's do it. What's going on, GFC fam and Wealth Hacker Nation? It's time to make your life more, and why not just go ahead and just dive right into it. So anytime you see these get rich gurus, like you never hear about any of their losses. All they talk about is their wins. Oh, wait, is that me? Oh, I don't know. Well, apparently that's what this person thought on Twitter. So I had shared this Twitter thread, this tweet, and I'll go ahead and share it for those that are watching here on the YouTube channel. So the original tweet was this: invest in these 7 assets before age 33 and you'll be richer than 97% of everyone else. I mean, if that is not a hook, I don't know what is. Man, I have gotten really good at writing hooks. I'm still improving, still a work in process. And I will have a link to that tweet so you can check out what those 7 assets are that I talk about. And after I shared that, this individual that goes by the law of self-defense had this to say: the problem with these people is they only ever tell you about their wins, never their losses. There might be some truth to that. It's like all degenerate gamblers. They've only ever won. They've never lost. Vegas rocks. Ask this guy about his losses. Let's see how the conversation goes if it's honest. Now, at this point, I've been on social media. I've been doing online business for a number of years where I'm not going to get my ruffles. My ruffles? No, I need to eat me some ruffles. I'm not going to get my feathers ruffled because of some online troll that's going to attack me based off of one tweet. But that being said, I didn't feel the need to defend myself, funny enough, since it is the law of self-defense. But also just wanted to show, hey, like, you obviously don't know me because I have openly shared a lot of my mistakes. I actually have an older video, an older podcast, an older blog post where I shared some of that. But then I went ahead and updated some of those losses, some of those mistakes, so that, you know, he could see, hey, this is what I'm all about. So I openly shared, hey, is this honest enough for you? Lost $5,000 on my first penny stock trade, wasted $8,000 on a solo 401k business, bad business partnership, lost $200K with Celsius Network. And I thought I had a good response, and I forgot exactly what he said, but basically he didn't even acknowledge that I was being honest, that I was being vulnerable, because I would agree. A lot of internet personalities, a lot of people that are trying to sell you the whole get rich quick, these bigger pipe dream ideas, they don't share their mistakes. But that is something that for me, I want to share the mistakes, because I don't want to be this guy that shows that it's all about victories, all about wins, that there's never adversity, that there's never any perseverance, that there's never any obstacles. So what I want to take some time today was to highlight some of those mistakes I mentioned in that tweet, but also expand upon some others I've shared in the past for those that are maybe new to the channel, new to the podcast, and they haven't had a chance to hear this, because I want to tell you that every single millionaire out there, every single successful entrepreneur, they did not become an overnight success. We're talking years upon years of trial and error, of putting themselves out there, willing to fail often, and use all those experiences as a way to prevent, I won't say prevent, hopefully prevent it from happening again, but just taking some of that and applying that to whatever the next venture is, the next idea, the next amazing opportunity that presents itself. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and break this down. So the very first one, and we're going back in time a little bit. So this would have been, I was a financial advisor. I think it was my first year of being an advisor. And when you're new to trading, and for those of you that are listening to this, or you're in your 20s or your 30s and you've never invested before, I could easily see this happening. I mean, I could see it happening to me, possibly again. But, you're talking to somebody, they've got some great stock idea, some great investment idea.
I have an idea.
And you've got a little bit of money. Like, you know what? I'm gonna put some money into this. So this is what happened when I had started my career as a financial advisor. I was meeting with some clients. I believe it was a dad and the daughter, if I recall. And basically they were telling me about the daughter's boyfriend or fiance that was working at this company. It was some oil drilling company, and they were getting ready to strike, I guess, a lot of oil, obviously. And so they thought that the company was going to go up. It was a penny stock at the time, which basically means it's not traded on any of the major exchanges. It's traded on the pink sheets, over the counter, as they would say. And so this is kind of like insider trading. I don't know if it is. Like I'm acting on information that is presented for me from a client's daughter's boyfriend who is not in the office. Definitely didn't fact check this. Should have fact checked it. This was probably before the whole fact checking thing.
Facts are meaningless. You can use facts to prove anything that's even remotely true.
Became what it is today. Anyway, took this information and said, all right, I'm going to buy some of this penny stock. So I did. And what I ended up doing, this is what ended up costing me $5,000, was typically when you are buying and selling a stock like a Tesla or a Facebook, something that there's just a lot of activity going on, you can put in a market order, which basically means that it executes whatever the price of the share is at that time. Now, and that's what I did. But what I didn't know, that with penny stocks, since there isn't a lot of activity, when you place a market order, you're placing an order that is at the market. So whatever you see the price is, but let's say that you buy 1,000 shares. Well, you might fill, say, 100 or 200 or whatever the current price is. But then the market makers then can inflate that price and jack it up really quick, especially when they see a larger order. So what ended up happening was, and I think it was like around 1,000 shares, the first couple hundred executed, let's say, at $1. Well, the next couple or several hundred executed like at $2 and then $3. And I don't remember what the max was. All I know at the end of it, what I thought I was paying for these shares, I ended up paying, it wasn't $5,000 exactly, but it ended up being more than that, because when I tried to sell it, I could sell off some of them where I could make a profit, but most of them did not sell because there wasn't enough people interested in the stock to make back my money. So long story short, I lost $5,000.
I lost it completely.
Like $5,000, which that is a lot of money. I don't care if you are even a millionaire, like $5,000 is a lot of money. And at that point in my career, that was a lot of money. Like I didn't have an extra $5,000 just sitting around. I don't know if we even had $5,000 sitting in our savings account at the time. And if I recall, I think I had to have some of that money taken out of my future, basically my commissions and salary. Like that's how bad that hit me. Obviously, probably 15 plus years later, why I haven't forgot. So that was my first major blunder. One that came shortly after that, this wasn't as a huge mistake, so to speak, but whenever I was deployed to Iraq, so we're going back into 2005, while we were deployed, everybody was talking about the Iraqi Dinar, which basically is the currency that's over there. And at that time, everybody was comparing it. I don't remember all the details, but I remember that back then, the Kuwaiti dollar, I think whenever the U.S. had gone in and basically like rescued, or not say rescued, but implemented the government and got their government in order, you saw the Kuwaiti. I don't know if it's the Kuwaiti dollar. I'm not sure if that's what the currency is, but the Kuwaiti currency, it ended up skyrocketing. So basically, if you had bought, and I'm just making up numbers here, if you bought like $1 million of the Kuwaiti currency, like you would have 3x or 4x your money. And to buy $1 million of that currency may have only taken like $1,000 of US dollars. So you're talking about, this is like huge returns.
It's a huge deal.
So whenever we are deployed over to Iraq, there was a lot of speculation that the exact same thing could happen. U.S. government's coming in, we're instilling law and order and a democracy. So the Iraqi dinar is potentially this investment that you could put a small amount of money in and you could make, who knows, 100x return. So at the time, I think it was, I ended up buying $1 million of Iraqi dinar, which I don't remember the exact ratio or the exchange rate, but I think it was around $750, maybe $800. And then you had to throw on like whatever the fees were. So that was, once again, back in 2005. So how is the Iraqi dinar doing now? So check this out. I still have it, right? It's still sitting in our safe in our house. And I'm not worried about anybody coming to steal it because it's not a ton of money. So if I type in $1 million of Iraqi dinar here on this exchange, you'll see that is worth about $684.93 of US dollars. So if I put in like 750, 800 back then, this is back in 2005. And for those that are, whatever time you're listening to this, the time of this recording, we're talking October of 2022. So imagine if I would have bought, $800 of the S&P 500 of any stock. Heck, I probably could have made money buying that penny stock that I lost money in. That obviously has not worked out very well for an investment. And yeah, you can look at the chart. Like it don't do nothing. So once again, I still have that money, so I guess I didn't lose it per se, but it's definitely opportunity cost, or I should say opportunity lost, because I did not invest that into something else. So that was the second bad investment. Now the third investment, and let's see, yeah, this was, I learned a lot from this one. So this one was a really, I'll say pivotal time in my life of learning to understand how I'm wired. And this is something that I will talk more about here on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, also on Twitter, is really understanding how you're wired or understanding your personality type. And this is something that I ended up learning through a coaching program. And funny enough, I was in the first year of this coaching program whenever I made this financial blunder, but I wasn't in it long enough to understand what I needed to understand about myself, if all that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, Butters.
It does?
Yes, now get out of here.
Okay.
So basically what happened was I had left my old brokerage firm. I had went and co-founded my own investment firm. So in the financial advisory or financial services world, I'd went independent. And then that allowed me to market myself a little bit differently. That's where the blog came from. And it also allowed me to, I ended up starting like an insurance agency. I was looking into, I think, partnering with some realtors, like real estate agents. And then I ended up, and I forgot how I found or discovered this, but I ended up discovering this solo 401k business opportunity. Now, at the time, what I was really intrigued about was that I had I had a SEP IRA. I was wanting to save more. So I was actually looking at the solo 401k as a business retirement plan. And we don't have to talk about like if that's a good fit for you. If you are a solopreneur or if it's just you and your spouse, a solo 401k could be something to take a look at. So I was looking at one. I was wanting to set one up. And I think that's probably how I discovered this solo 401k business opportunity. And what ended up happening was, I think it was some webinar. I don't think it was in a webinar. I ended up getting on some sales call. And I mean, the way they did it was just amazing. Basically, they gave me this whole pitch, and it was one of those things where they didn't call it a discount. They called it a coupon. So basically, at the end of this sales call, if I were to act now, if I were to buy now, like the training program, I think it was like I think $13,000. I think that's the number that sticks out of my head. But if you act now, you'll get a $5,000 coupon, and it'll only be $8,000. So basically, what was being pitched was they were going to give me all of the training that I needed to have this solo 401k business that I could approach other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and get them set up. And like, if you sell one, I mean, they were like $5,000, I think, something like that. So it only, after you sold a few, I mean, you got your money back. I'm trying to make myself feel better here, right? Or I'm trying to help manage my image of you, your perception of me, by giving you all these details. But what I should have known, that how I'm wired, is that I am such a big idea quick start that if somebody's going to pitch me something right there, right now, like, my wife will often joke and say that I will buy, I don't want to use that one, poop in a bag, or I'll buy ice from an Eskimo, because man, you get me excited. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go. I'm all in.
Let's go, baby, let's go.
But I truly believed that this $8,000 investment was going to become a recurring $6-figure business, possibly more, because it just made sense. And I kind of thought, with all the online marketing that I'm doing, had the blog going, I was going to do like videos and all this stuff. Like, I'm like, man, I got this down. Like $8,000, that's nothing. I'm going to make this back in 100x more than that. So I did it. I invested the $8,000 into this solo 401k business. And longer story short, let's just say, I'll ask myself the question, hey Jeff, how many solo 401ks did you sell? And the answer is 0.
0? Not one person?
0. I didn't sell one, because what ended up happening was, by the time when I went to the training and realized, oh my gosh, like, this is a lot more involved than I ever thought. Like, there's all these other things I had to set up with the business that, if I'm being honest, they didn't do a great job letting me know. That being said, I also didn't ask a lot of good qualifying questions to understand what was all involved. So that was 100% on me. So that was a lot of money. Yeah, that was a lot of money that I'll never forget. But that is definitely one of those, anytime I come across another great opportunity, I always go back to the solo 401k business and remind myself, what are my goals? What am I trying to accomplish? How does this fit? Is this taking something away from something else that I'm more excited, more passionate about? So that I learned a lot, right? This is my tuition. So that is the third one. The fourth one, and this one is more recent, which, gosh, I feel like I should have learned something. This one was kind of exciting, though, because my older two kids, my oldest son especially, got really into sports cards. And I had a few videos back in the day talking about sports cards as a potential investment. Coming out of the pandemic, sports cards blew up. And this was a lot of fun, because as a kid, I loved collecting. As a kid, I called them baseball cards, because they were mostly baseball cards, and then it became basketball and then football. So now they call them sports cards. For those that are listening to this, maybe you thought sports cars. No, we're not talking about vehicles here. We're talking about pieces of cardboard with pictures of athletes on them. So you saw sports cards just blow up during the pandemic and then post-pandemic. And there's been some crazy prices. And the hobby still is thriving. There are certain aspects that are doing well, but there was just a lot of cards that I invested into at, let's just say, the absolute wrong time. And I can give like one example, but after Kobe Bryant passed away, after his death, you saw his cards spike up. And there was a lot of speculation, and it actually hasn't released yet. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but for many of us watched the Michael Jordan or the Chicago Bulls documentary, The Last Dance, on ESPN, which aired during the pandemic. Well, there is a similar ESPN documentary that was recorded with Kobe Bryant. So there was a lot of speculation that documentary is released that you'll see his card prices skyrocket, like you saw Jordan's cards all skyrocket. So there was one of his rookie cards in particular that I spent, and actually there's more than one, but one in particular that I spent, it was about $1,000 on this one card. And right now, if I were to go buy that same card, I think I can actually get it for like $250 to $300. So that's like a $700 loss. And that's not the only one. I mean, it's Kobe's. I bought some Zion Williamson rookies. I bought some Kevin Durant rookies. I bought some Luka Doncic rookies. All of these are down significantly. Now they're still worth something, but you talk about buying high and selling low. I mean, I timed it horribly.
All of these are horrible choices.
Horribly. And that is one that I haven't even tallied how much I've lost because, out of sight, out of mind. I just want to stay in the state of denial because I don't want to know how much I've lost. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I do need to calculate, and I will one day. But just for right now, let's just say that I have lost thousands. More than the solo 401k business, I don't know. I hope not. But I have a hunch that it is more. Moving on to number 5, and number 5 is one that I'm still crying over. Like I'm still upset about.
Emotional, damn it!
It's just one of those things, right? It's just one of those things. So what is one of those things? Well, on this channel, on the podcast, I've talked a lot about cryptocurrency, investing into Bitcoin, and I'm grateful for the time that I got in. Like a lot of my initial investments into Bitcoin when it was around 7,000. At the time of this recording, Bitcoin is trading between 1920. I think it's over 20 today. So yeah, it's not like it was back in the day at 60,000 or even higher. That being said, I still had some gains, but it's one of those things I haven't calculated yet. But I'm pretty sure after this whole debacle that my gains are gone. I'm hoping that I broke even, but I feel pretty confident that my gains are gone. So what happened exactly? Well, in cryptocurrency, for those that are still new to crypto, if you were to go invest in the stock market and you wanted to open up different investment accounts, you have a lot of different choices. You have Vanguard and Fidelity and Robinhood and M1 Finance. You do TD Ameritrade, or you can go to your local bank if they have an investment arm, or a credit union, or an Edward Jones or Merrill Lynch. Like there are a lot of different exchanges, a lot of different brokerages that you can choose. So with cryptocurrency, similar thing. You had Coinbase, and now actually you have Robinhood. You had BlockFi. You have Binance, and there still are a lot of different choices. FTX, these are the ones that are out there. Crypto.com is another one. So one of the ones, I started with Coinbase. I have some at Binance. I have some at KuCoin. But then because of a really close friend of mine who I respect, I actually had him on the podcast as well. He really talked a lot about Celsius Network. Now, it is not his fault. I am not blaming him. I am a grown man. I didn't have to go to Celsius Network, but I liked what he had to say. I did my own research, and I ended up transferring a good amount of my cryptocurrency, which was mostly at that time. I think what I transferred there was some of my Bitcoin and Ethereum, and maybe Cardano, if I recall. Now, at the time of this recording, at that time, Bitcoin was trading between $40 and $60. As I just mentioned earlier, it's trading around 20. So it's not, it's not because of this. Some of the loss obviously is because of what's happening in the crypto market. But for those that aren't aware of this, Celsius Network filed for bankruptcy.
The rumor has it you're broke.
I don't even want to say it again. Bankruptcy.
Just as I thought. Trash.
So that means that any money that I had at Celsius Network is currently worth nothing.
Emotional, damn it.
Now, it's currently in claims court, whole bankruptcy proceeding. So there's a chance I may get some of it back. But yeah, I am not banking on it. Now, if I recall, I should have probably looked this up. I think at its peak, it was around $200,000 and $220,000. Oh my gosh, that's why I didn't want to do this podcast. Now, everything has dropped since then. So if let's say that Bitcoin was 60, it was 220, now it's down to 20. So you take a third of that. So really, I have only lost like 70,000. God, I don't want to do this anymore. Can I cut? Can I stop? I don't want to talk about this. This is still a very sensitive subject.
Whatever's going on here, stop it immediately.
Yeah. And I don't want to make light of this. I know I'm trying to make light of it for my own pain that I'm dealing with, but truth be told, there are a lot of people that invested either a lot more than I did, or they invested a larger percentage of their total net worth with Celsius Network, and they are basically screwed. And they might get like some of that money back, but we're talking about pennies on the dollar. There was another exchange named Voyager, that very similar thing. It happened a few months before Celsius Network. And right now, like, there's a chance they'll get like, I think a third of their money back. So let's say that I get a third. You take away the crypto markets. If I get a third of what I have, if I get, 15, 20,000, woohoo, yes. All right. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. I'm not all that excited. I pretty much have written it off, which is a bummer, but it's definitely a learning lesson. I'm not sure what that lesson is. Lesson is don't invest in Celsius Network, or don't get too excited about the new shiny object, which you would have thought I've learned with the solo 401k business. But yeah, that was so long ago. Fast forward, this is the new thing. I promise you I have made money. Like, I'm not broke, but these are definitely some of those. Oh gosh, that hurts. That hurts. Which brings us to our last one. Okay, so we're on to the last one. I'm sure there are more, but let's be honest. Do we need to talk about all of my failures? Like, let's just cut it off at 6 for now. So this one. And I will spend more time on this one because I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned here for me to relearn and for you. And this one is about a bad business partnership, one that initially was very fruitful. I mean, it propelled growth, made more money than I ever thought I could ever make from my blog and from my online business. So there are a lot of parts of this partnership that I'm so grateful for. And then there's also this stretch where I had to do a lot of self-discovery. And there's, let's just say it was a lot of therapy. It didn't end well. It didn't end well. It could have been a whole lot worse. And I'm grateful that I'm at a point now where I can see that. I will tell you that in the middle of it, it was one of the hardest, most difficult situations that I've ever gone through in my entire life, and we're including a deployment to Iraq. I mean, there was times like this trying to make sense of what was going on, why it was happening. There were just so many questions unanswered, and there still are. Like, there's still a lot of things that I don't know why they happened. I just had to get to a point where I had to accept that this is what it is and try to make sense of the situation going forward. And that was a long time. We're talking, I'm glad I'm laughing now, but I am not exaggerating. You know, I've talked openly before about anxiety and depression, and not all of it was because of this partnership, but there was a good chunk of that. And so anyway, to be able to laugh about it today is something I'm grateful for, because I still have a business. I still have a business that provides for my family. My wife still doesn't have to work. We live an amazing life. Like we are so blessed. And I can't even, one day I think I tried to calculate how much was lost. And I don't know. I mean, if I'm guesstimating, it's probably between $2 and $4 million, like no exaggeration. And that's probably on the low side. Obviously that far outranks the penny stocks in the solo 401k business and the sports cards and Celsius network. Because we're not talking like just 2 or 4 million one time. Like we're talking potentially like millions, like reoccurring. So, you know, the business has taken a hit. It's not where it was 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. Once again, though, I'm saying this as a reminder for myself that it more than provides what my family needs and then some, and then some. And that's why I'm so grateful. And it's not the only income stream I have coming in. So that's the other thing, right? We talk about diversification and why it's so important to diversify. You know, the blog, the website is not the only business, but even if it was the only business, it on its own still provides more than my family needs. So I'm saying all this because I'm grateful. I'm grateful. But yeah, there was a time that I wasn't grateful. I was angry. I was sad. I was depressed. I mean, had a bunch of fear of like, is this going to end? We're talking about something that I started back in 2008. So it feels good to know that it's still here. It's still providing, and there's still a lot to be done. And I get an opportunity now to basically take it back over and do it the way that not I want to, but how God wants me to do it. And that's also something that I had to learn how to accept and also surrender. But yeah, that one, a bad business partnership that initially was fruitful. I mean, that is not even giving it its true glory. It's you know, it is minimizing how fruitful it was. I mean, it was so fruitful to then end up, I won't say costing me, but based on where the numbers were and based on where they are at now, we're definitely in that $2 to $4 million range, if not more. So that being said, if you are interested in partnering with me with a business idea that you have, I don't know what the idea is, but the answer is no. I don't care how amazing it is. I am currently on a sabbatical for business partnerships. I am hiring employees. We are doing independent contractors. I have one partner right now that is my wife, and that's all I need. That's all I need. Obviously, I also need God in my life, God and my wife, my family, independent contractors, maybe a few employees, and that is all that I need to survive, to help people, to help you make your life more. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, this YouTube video, being a little more vulnerable than maybe I have in the past or here in a while at least. I will be happy to dive in more. Hopefully there's some life lessons that you can learn so that you can accelerate your wealth building by benefiting from my mistakes and my willingness to share those with you. All right, y'all, until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.